Board. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 43 of the In From Japan podcast, the podcast where we talk about the latest news on Japan-developed games and other things in relation to them. Available on YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. As always, I'm your host, Erroll Moss, and with me is my co-host, the phenomenon from Suriname, Jason Corder.
Hey.
And we're going to start like we always do with the Japanese games we've been playing. So I finally got my hands on Pokemon Sword Crown Tundra, and it's okay.
Wow, you sound so deflated.
I mean, it's more Sword and Shield. I was always like, the whole thing with Sword and Shield is, for me, is like, they're okay. They have plenty of problems, but they're okay. This expansion is just adding a bunch of legendaries, some new, some old. It has a cool new little wild area, except for the map is really annoying because it doesn't really show. It doesn't show. How do I say this? Like, you'll be in one area and go to another area, but it won't show your progress like through that area.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I think so.
Like it shows you in the same spot. And it can get really confusing of how to get from one place to another. So that can be kind of annoying.
Were you expecting something else from the game? Or this DLC in particular?
No, not really. I wasn't expecting anything like super special. I'm just like, oh, this will be a fun little thing. And it was fun. I've only done a little bit of the Dynamax adventures, which is actually really cool. Because it's like it's almost like a Pokemon roguelite, you know, because you go and you rent a Pokemon, and you go with a team of 4 other players or 3 other players or AI, and you go down a path, and each battle, like, it's a diverging path, and each battle has like, you're fighting a different type of Pokemon. But the thing is, it only tells you one type, and, you know, these days most Pokemon are dual type.
Uh-huh.
So you have to sometimes you have to kind of guess, and sometimes you could get really screwed over. And then, you know, you go through all those battles to eventually get to the legendary Dynamax legendary. There are also people who you can catch one of those Pokemon on the way and switch it with the first Pokemon you rented, or you can switch it with a person that you encounter, because sometimes you'll encounter people in between battles, just like they're just people standing there, and they'll either heal you or they'll just offer you a different Pokemon to trade to you.
Okay.
I've only done it once or twice, but I think it's just a very interesting mechanic, a little thing that adds a little more challenge. Because that way you're not... Cause it is annoying that you can't use your own Pokemon, but that way you're not just hammering through it, you know?
Mm-hmm. But
you have to actually think a bit more.
There's also kind of super hard dual battles or double battles later on in the game. Have you...
Yeah, I haven't unlocked that yet.
Okay.
I haven't unlocked that yet. I still have to catch some of the legendaries. So the Galarian birds, once you unlock this one cutscene at this Dynamax tree with a bunch of Dynamax fruit, and they're all fighting at it, they're all running or flying around in various areas. So, like, Galarian Moltres is on the Isle of Armor, flying around. Galarian Articuno is in Crown Tundra. And then Galarian Zapdos is running around the main wild area by Hammerlock. And you kind of have to chase them down. So, Zapdos is kind of the easiest, because you're already familiar with that wild area, and it can't fly, it just runs. So you just have to get it when it slows down. Moltres is a little harder because there's like a specific spot you have to encounter it, because it flies around and you can't fly like that.
Yeah.
And then Galarian Articuno is the same way, but Galarian Articuno also has a mini game before you can catch it, where it basically does a Shadow Clone Jutsu, and you have to guess which one is the real one. And I can't tell which one, because it spins around, and they all look the same. I think my friend told me one sticks its wing out before, and you just have to keep track of it. But it goes around like so fast, I can't keep track of it.
Well,
so I haven't gotten that one yet.
It's designed for kids, so I'm pretty sure there has to be a very simple way of discerning which one is which.
Yeah, there's probably a strategy to it that I'm not thinking of. Otherwise, I was also catching all the Reggies, which have their same catch rate from the old games, so they all took a lot longer than I expected.
Okay.
Even after I paralyzed them and had them at 1 health.
Huh. So it's kind of
so many
Sword
Pokemon
and Shield,
used.
but hard mode, more or less. Kind of giving you the challenge the base game was lacking.
Well, with that stuff, because I say the main story with Calyrex is easy.
Oh, okay.
Like the Calyrex part is pretty brief.
Well, are you enjoying yourself somewhat, at least?
Yeah, it's a fun little thing. It's a little bit of a shorter experience than I expected. But then again, like obviously, since I haven't done the Dynamax Adventures and the Star Tournament are kind of the real like meat of it, I guess. Since I already did the Reggie stuff and the Calyrex stuff.
Yeah.
It's like if you enjoyed Sword and Shield, then yeah, go for it. You'd probably like this too. But if you didn't really care for Sword and Shield, you probably wouldn't care for this either.
Well, one of the main gripes people had with the game was that they couldn't fill their Pokédex as in previous entries. So having more mons to capture and including legendaries, I think it just adds to the value.
That was the other thing. Some Pokemon that are harder to get in the base game are super easy to get now. Like Stone Joiner, who I tried so hard to get before. You had to be in the right place at the right time with the right weather conditions. And then there's like one area, there's just a bunch of them walking around.
I mean, it's a different region, so I'm guessing that's why there are...
I mean, it's the same region.
No, I mean, but a different area, if that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Like, it is...
It was that, and then there's another area high in the mountains with a bunch of Frosmoths, which I don't think were in the wild before. I think it was just Snom.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
Okay, real quick, a technical question. Do I sound okay? Is my volume okay?
Yeah, you sound okay to me.
Okay, because...
why, are you peaking or something?
No. Discord. Audacity's picking up my computer's microphone and not my Blue Yeti for some reason. But if you say it's okay...
Well, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Do you want me to switch real quick?
If it doesn't... I'll just talk about the... I'll just keep going while you do that and talk about the Breath of... So, yeah, Pokemon Sword and Shield. The one thing with the Reggies, you have to unlock Regieleki or Regidrago, because you can only get one. You have to catch all the other Reggies not Regigigas, but you have to catch the 3 main Reggies first, and they have to be the Galarian not Galarian Reggies, but the Reggies that are in Galar. So like the Reggies I transferred from Pokemon Sun using Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Home didn't count. And then I got Regidrago because I don't know. That's just the one I got. I guess I like his design a little better. And otherwise, I tried the Age of Calamity demo. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And it has more content than I expected.
Okay, now I'm back. Now we're cooking with gas.
Yeah. Now we're cooking with gas.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Now we're playing with portals.
Yeah. Okay, so Age of Calamity. How is it? Is it too different?
I don't know how I have mixed feelings about it right now.
Is it because it's too much like
a Musou game, or not enough a Musou game, or too much?
It's more because I'm not that I only kind of like Musou games, and I don't like Breath of the Wild or Zelda all that much. So I'm like, well, this sounds interesting. I'll try it. And so like you get to play as far as I know 3 characters: Zelda, Impa, and Link. Oh, I should have said that the other way around.
Yeah. But are you enjoying yourself?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's
really
you
weird.
are one tough customer, you know that?
Sometimes I am. I don't know why.
But okay, let's say it like this. You had your gripes with.
It has cool systems. Look, it has cool systems. Like it has like, and I don't know if this is like a regular Musou thing because I haven't played a Musou game in a while. But it's like you'll press. You have your strong attack and your heavy attack, and then you have a special attack that you have to charge up over time. As well as like Link you have this like alternate attack, like Link has an arrow attack, and he has bombs, and there's just so many different things you can do with like so many different combat options. I really like that.
Yeah, it's more a Breath of the Wild game with Musou mechanics than a Musou game with Breath of the Wild mechanics, if that makes sense.
Like, and then cooking There's cooking in it where it like boosts your stats before a battle. You help. So when you go to like the map, you help the people around the kingdom, and that will give you like it will give you food or like access to something else or some kind of stat boost or some new or an additional button press to your combo.
Okay.
So all that is pretty neat, and I love how they all have like, well, at least between Link, Impa, and Zelda, they all have different things. Like, you know, Link, he does his Breath of the Wild stuff. You know, he has a sword and a shield. He has arrows, like I said. He has bombs. He can do shield he does a shield surfing attack in one combo. Impa does this thing where she like absorbs. I'm not sure what she's absorbing, but she absorbs something and then uses that to attack, and then she can basically make, well, they're not shadow clones, they're like, I'd say they're more closer to like light clones of herself. So then you're attacking multiple enemies at once, and you can make a lot of them. I'm not sure what the limit is, but like when I was first trying her out, I had like 2 out, and then like later there were like 8 other ones. I'm like, how far does this go? Oh my god. And then Zelda uses like the Sheikah Slate attack, like all those kinds of attacks.
Yeah. Well, let's say it like this: you're notoriously critical about Breath of the Wild. Based on what you've played here, do you see yourself liking this more, or just about the same?
See, because it's a Dynasty Warriors game, it's hard for me to determine. Right now, I feel like I'm probably not going to pick it up, but I haven't finished the demo quite yet. So I need to check out other stuff. Like, I need to see if I can equip different weapons and different cooking stuff, because there is a lot more to do in the demo than I expected. Okay,
so what would the game need for it to grab your attention fully?
I'm not sure. I like I said, I need to test it out more. I'm gonna play around with the difficulty levels, see if I like that better. Because I'm not that sure yet.
Okay. Fair enough. I guess.
I know I'm being difficult, but like it's hard. It's hard to determine.
Well, fair enough, I guess. Let's see. Well, you're probably all wondering what I've been playing.
Yeah.
I haven't had much time. Surprise, surprise. My day job keeps me plenty busy, and so it's the regular spiel. I don't have.
Just tell them that you have a podcast you need to work on.
Yeah, so there's not much time for gaming. I have played a bit more of Robotic Notes not a whole lot. Like just a couple of scenes further. There's a lot of talking. It's a visual novel, if you haven't noticed.
Oh, so no big revelations.
No, not really.
Yet.
If I'd had to say, if this were an anime, I'd still be in the 5 to 10 minute mark. So not even on half of the episode yet. Which is probably worrying for most people listening, thinking, okay, this is bad pacing. I just haven't really had enough time to properly play it. So take everything I say about this game with a grain of salt. I have, however, been putting a lot of time into Bleach Brave Souls, and that's mainly because it has a Burn the Witch campaign going on in the game.
Check out our Burn the Witch podcast, now on all those podcast services I mentioned earlier.
Nice plug. I'm mainly playing it just for Noelle and Nishi. Or Nini, sorry. Noelle and Nini. Just for those two characters. And then I can retire the game again.
Can't play as Osushi?
You can't play as him, but you can add him as a mascot that follows you around.
Well,
I mean,
somewhere.
but it's yeah, it's just cosmetic, I'd say. In terms of what I think about the game, it's still too easy. I'm barely feeling any challenge. The gameplay is fun. It's hack and slashy. If you've played Regalia's Lost, you kind of get a sense of how the gameplay is. It's pretty much that. But besides that, it's fun enough if you're a Bleach fan, but it won't challenge you enough that you'll see yourself playing it for years on end or months on end. Just if you want to get those waifus, you'd probably be committed to the game, but otherwise it's just a fun distraction. And yeah, that's all I've been playing.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like everything's just kind of slowing down just a little before next gen gets here. And it's going to be like boom, boom, bam, bam, too many things.
Not for me. I'm just busy.
Well, yeah, but I feel just for me personally. I mean, I'm also behind on stuff, but like I got some stuff. A certain game coming soon. Hopefully, it comes before next week's podcast, so I can talk about it with the guests we hopefully have. But like after that, like because the week after that, that's next gen, and then we got Yakuza 7, and well, I'm gonna wait on Demon Souls, but
yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of stuff. Alright, so next section is the In From Japan J-List, where we talk about recent video game related entertainment news. And we have two things. One is more video game related than the other, but I wanted to add the second story because, well, you'll know why in a second. So the first story on the J-List is Netflix sets 5 new anime titles, unveils first look at Resident Evil, Infinite Darkness, Yasuke, more. Because they updated it, so it's more than 5. Netflix announced a whole slew of anime. Which included Rilakuma's Theme Park Adventure, Therme Rome Nove, High Rise Invasion, Thus Spoke Kishibe Rohan, which is a JoJo Part 4 spin-off, and The Way of the House Husband, and then updates on stuff like Eden, Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, Vampire in the Garden, Yasuke, Godzilla Singular Point, Pacific Rim The Black, Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy, Trace, Be the Beginning Succession, Baki Hanma, and Spriggan. So a lot.
Does anything in this lineup catch your eye?
Yes, quite a few actually.
Okay.
I haven't finished the Rilakuma original one, but it is pretty adorable. And then there's the JoJo, of course, because I love JoJo Part 4. That's probably my favorite one so far.
Mm-hmm.
It might stay my favorite one.
Okay.
So I'm excited for that. I'm surprised it's on Netflix and not just going to be on Adult Swim on Toonami. But I guess, or on like Crunchyroll.
I'm guessing, depending on the rights, how they're settled, it might be Netflix for you, Crunchyroll for me, or the other way around. I guess we'll know when it drops. I do want to add, Therme Romae Nove is the second adaptation, if I'm not mistaken, of this title. The Way of the House Husband is highly anticipated because the manga has been really popular as of late. It's really funny from what I've seen. What else? Yasuke.
I'm actually curious
Yasuke
about that
is something I'm looking forward to because it's LaShawn Thomas producing that with Lakeith Stanfield of Atlanta fame, or Sorry to Bother You fame. And fun fact, Yasuke is based on a historical character, and the late Chadwick Boseman was slated to play him in a live action movie. So
I did not know that.
It's kind of bittersweet to see an announcement for Yasuke.
Yeah.
And Black Samurai. Literally a Black Samurai. So you'd love to see it.
I'm super excited. Knowing me, I'm super excited for Godzilla Singular Point. Because one, it's a new anime with Godzilla, and it has character designs from the Blue Exorcist
author.
Yeah. And I think they look pretty good. I don't know who designs the kaiju, but I was reading somebody's Twitter. Somebody I follow on Twitter was saying there were a lot of deep cuts that I didn't catch with like certain kaiju. Like Rodan was in it, and Anguirus, and he even caught Jet Jaguar, which Jet Jaguar has not been in a modern Godzilla thing in a long time.
So the author of Blue Exorcist is Kazue Kato.
Yeah. Kaiju design Eiji Yamamori.
Yeah. So look forward to that. I still have to finish Blue Exorcist.
Oh, it's great. Well, I haven't kept
know.
up with the manga because it's monthly and I'm way behind. But the anime the two different anime series were pretty cool. And then Pacific Rim the Black. I'm a huge Pacific Rim fan. I'm not the biggest fan of this CG animation style, but the kaiju and mech fights should look better than the humans do, because they usually do in that case.
It depends. It really depends. But I'll say CG in anime, how do I say it? It really is hit or miss. It can either be Berserk or it can be Dorohedoro. So
or Ultraman.
We'll see.
Great.
Yeah, we'll see.
I need to watch Dorohedoro. It's on my list.
It's good. It's really weird and really violent.
It's not anime, but it's definitely anime inspired. I actually just finished watching Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beast, and I thought it was really good. Had great music too.
Yeah.
All right, and then the next story on the J list real quick is that Tokushoutsu announces first Ultraman streaming programs. So a while ago, Shout Factory got the rights to basically every Ultraman series. So now they've revealed which ones they'll have in November. It'll be Ultra Q, which is the original series that is more like it's like a Japanese Twilight Zone. And then Ultraman is a spin-off of that. So they'll have Ultra Q, original Ultraman, Ultra 7, which helped inspire Pokemon, Ultraman Orb, Ultraman Orb the movie, Ultraman Geed, which is one of my favorite Ultraman series, and the first I watched all the way through, and Ultraman Geed the movie. I have not seen the Ultraman Gene movie yet, so I'm very excited to have access to that.
I was just about to say, an Ultraman property you know nothing of?
There's a lot of Ultraman properties I don't know that much about yet.
Huh.
Meanwhile, I'm over here. I've been watching Kamen Rider Kuga on the Shout Factory Prime Video add-on channel. And that has been good.
Do you enjoy it?
It's been good. I just hope they're able to get the rights to more Kamen Rider series in the future. Especially the one that was especially the one written by the same writer as Psychopass and Madoka Magica.
Well, that's pretty promising then.
Yeah, that Kamen Rider Gaim, it's supposed to be one of the best ones.
Okay.
And their motif is fruit.
Well, there's something you don't see every day, but okay.
It seems pretty silly, and then it gets dark, you know, because he's kind of known. I forgot his name, but you know, that writer is kind of known for like subverting tropes. Well, like in the case of Madoka Magica.
Yeah, let me. I know who you're talking about. Let me look
it
up real quick. What is his name? Psychopass. Written by Gen Urobuchi.
Yeah, Urobuchi. I get him confused with. Oh, now I'm forgetting.
Uchikoshi.
Uchikoshi. I get him confused with Uchikoshi. Yeah. Urobuchi. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he helped write that one. And then I found out that the writer for Digimon Tamers and Serial Experiments Lane and a few other things, or one of the writers, like the one that did all the like darker stuff in Digimon Tamers, he actually created Ultraman Gaia and wrote for several other Ultraman series.
So it's all connected.
So everything's coming together. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So, moving on to our recommended content other than news from the past week listed out, links in the description. We have Persona 5 The Animation is a great Cliff Notes experience by Jenni Lada over at Siliconera. Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back is a masterclass in absurdism by Cian Maher over at The Gamer. If you're playing Genshin Impact for more than an hour a day, you're playing it wrong by Cian Maher, again, also at The Gamer. We have a couple from this
He's
site. Everywhere. Yeah. Why Touhou Luna Nights is a better Metroidvania than Bloodstained by Jessica Ramey over at The Gamer once again. I watched our buddy Michael Hyam actually finish this game on Saturday. And it's available on Game Pass. So
yeah,
definitely check it out if you can.
I was in that stream, but I bailed out because Jess McDonald was also streaming for the first time in a long time.
Oh yeah.
So
go support our former GameSpot Australia buddies.
Yeah.
And then we have this Malaysian psychologist did a Ph.D. on video games. Here's why her work is both inspiring and important by Adrian Lai over at IGN Southeast Asia. So you put this in the Parallax Discord channel. And
yeah.
I didn't get a chance to read it, but can you like provide like a quick like summary of it?
Well, Cliff Notes are that in behavioral science, it's difficult to get an accurate description of how teams function and or how they function in specific situations, because you're not monitoring a team live, and so many things can happen sporadically that change the work setting day to day. But there is a video game activity that you can monitor live. Let's say multiplayer chats, multiplayer parties for, let's say, League of Legends, Rainbow Six Siege. And by following these players, how they communicate, how they act in stressful situations, or what sparks joy for them in certain situations, that can kind of give you an idea of how people act in teams. So it's a lot about group dynamics and social psychology. So how we operate in groups.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting read. I highly recommend it.
We say as we both have degrees in psychology, right?
Well, I'm an undergraduate in psychology.
Yeah,
I
so
never finished it really.
But we've both been, we both know.
Yeah, we're both psych majors.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or were. And then next is preview Bakugan Champions of Vestroia borrows from similar games by Jenni Lada over at Siliconera. And also Bakugan Champions of Vestroia preview by Negative Legend over at YouTube. And I put these two because one's a little more positive and one's a little more negative. So I liked having that I could find like one of each viewpoint. And then we have Xbox Series X/S official next gen walkthrough full demo by Xbox over on the Xbox YouTube channel. So now it is time for what?
No, I was gonna say it's nothing we haven't already seen. It's just official.
Yeah, if you want to see like the official thing, get a refresher on stuff before it comes out. Yeah. So next we have the news rundown, starting with the badish news. So I'll let the Shinigami take it away.
Bankai. Okay, so we have Persona 5 Scramble localization not mentioned at Koei Tecmo's Q2 2020 report. This is by Kite Stenbuck for Siliconera. Koei Tecmo previously teased a Western localization for Persona 5 Scramble, The Phantom Strikers, in the company's financial reports. However, the company's latest report, which was made for the second quarter of the 2020 fiscal year, does not include any mention of that release. One of the latest teasers for Persona 5 Scramble's overseas release, still available to view publicly, appeared in Koei Tecmo's financial report for the full 2019 fiscal year in April 2020. American and European releases of the game were also specifically mentioned in the report for the first quarter of fiscal year 2020 in July 2020. However, Koei Tecmo's IR presentation page has since replaced the link for the Lada report with a revised version that removed any mentions of Persona 5 Scramble's Western releases on page 11. Only the Asian localization of the game, released in June 2020, is mentioned on the 5th page of the revised document. Dun dun dun.
Yeah. Now this doesn't mean that doesn't mean the localization is canceled though, necessarily.
No, we don't know what it means. Everyone's speculating, but no one knows what it means. Does it mean the game is canceled? Does it mean they're leaving money on the table? I don't know. Do I still think it's coming to the West? Persona being the hot property that it is, I'm guessing yes.
I would be shocked if it didn't.
Why has there not been an announcement yet? I think they want to see how next gen lands first, and then they'll adjust accordingly.
I forgot who it was. I think it was somebody maybe on Kind of Funny Games Daily who was saying it may have been that they got out of the way of, like, maybe they planned it, but they got out of the way of Hyrule Warriors.
Imran said it.
Or something?
Yeah, Imran said that. It's probably true because you have to be really careful when announcing stuff so as not to cannibalize your own sales.
Exactly.
Because you might say, Persona 5 Scramble is coming next year, and everyone will be like, oh, okay, we don't need Zelda Muso. We'll just wait on Persona 5 Scramble. You don't really want that. Though I don't really get that line of thinking. So rumor has it Nintendo is working on a revised edition of the Nintendo Switch somewhere March or April. of next year in conjunction with with a revised online service.
Yeah.
And couple that with next gen consoles being in the wild by then, it's kind of the idea to me that Koei Tecmo is probably figuring out, okay, which platform makes sense, how many times should we port this to X amount of consoles, how much will that cost. So I'm thinking we'll know sooner rather than later. Keep your eyes peeled to March. That's probably where they'll make an announcement. If not by then, probably by fall. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
Next
hope
up,
so. But just remember, it's not just because they say it's not like it's not on like part of the schedule. It doesn't mean it's completely gone.
no, it's also probably them removing it from the reports because after the last report, they got so much news and inquiries, and they were like, "Okay, guys, really, it's nothing. We have nothing to announce. Stop badgering us. We'll announce it when we're ready." So it's probably that. Okay, next up is San Diego Comic-Con will not sell badges for 2021 event. The organizers of I should say this is by Crystalline Hodgkins for Anime News Network. The organizers of the San Diego Comic-Con SDCC event recently updated the event's website to reveal that they will not sell badges for the 2021 event, which is currently scheduled to take place on July 22nd to 25th, 2021. The organizer stated, due to the continuing uncertainty of public gatherings during the COVID-19 pandemic, there will be no badge sales for Comic-Con 2021. With the cancellation of Comic-Con 2020, badge holders were given the option to either receive a refund or roll over their badge for Comic-Con 2021. For this reason, we do not believe it is possible to sell additional badges at this time. In short, it means,
digital.
Guys, it's the apocalypse. We'll see how it goes next year.
Don't say that. They're basically saying it's more like a precautionary measure. Just like, yeah, we're not going to because we don't know what things are going to look like by July 2021 yet. Like, we have predictions.
Yeah,
and stuff,
like I said, it's the apocalypse.
Don't say that. That puts a negative spin on everything. People are already taking things hard enough.
It's just a joke. Calm down. It's just a joke. You'll be fine. Promise.
Especially in the U.S. Don't say stuff like that. But yeah, it's more like they're probably just going digital again for now, just to be safe. Better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to, because Comic-Con, those kind of big conventions take a lot of money, and bring a lot of tourists in, and of course, if there's still stuff like this happening at that point, then that's not a good idea. Okay, so in other better news, we have Genshin Impact made almost $250 million in its first month, making it one of the biggest mobile launches ever. This is by Cian Maher. He's in this a lot today. He's been doing work for the gamer. Genshin Impact earned almost $250 million in its first month, making it one of the most successful mobile titles to ever launch. Despite being free to play, Genshin Impact has reportedly earned almost $250 million in its first month on the market, making it one of the most successful mobile titles to ever launch. This money all comes from player spending via Genshin Impact's in-game gacha system, which functions similarly to how microtransactions work in other games. The news comes from a report recently published by Sensor Tower. According to said report, Genshin Impact racked up approximately $60 million in player spending during its first week on the market, and has kept up the same momentum ever since. As of the report's publication yesterday, Genshin has earned a whopping $245 million, averaging slightly over $60 million a week, and it still isn't slowing down. This also means that Genshin Impact was the highest grossing mobile game for the entirety of last month, and that's on a global scale. Its $245 million of revenue stands head and shoulders over Honor of Kings' second place total of $216 million. What is Honor of Kings? Whereas Industry titans such as PUBG Mobile,
it's a Chinese game,
Pokemon Go, and Monster Strike are sitting at 195 million, 122 million, and 107 million respectively. Only Pokemon Go supersedes Genshin Impact's record, with Niantic's augmented reality catch 'em up having amassed a massive 283 million in its first 30 days on the market. That being said, Genshin Impact is still the biggest mobile RPG launch in the US to date, having grossed $45 million in that region alone. Spending in China is almost double that amount at $82 million, accounting for approximately 33.5% of global revenue. Chinese game developers have long looked to capture Western audiences without losing their audience at home, Nico Partners senior analyst Daniel Ahmad told Sensor Tower. Genshin Impact is a great example of how Chinese developers are succeeding in the West by focusing on high production values, popular gameplay mechanics, and deep progression systems. The game feels and plays like a console game while ultimately being free-to-play gacha title. Genshin Impact's global success reflects the evolution of Chinese game development, from outsourced artwork 15 years ago to full game development for the domestic market more recently, and now to full game development that resonates with global markets as well as the home front. So that's crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, pretty graphics, good music,
okay gameplay.
Breath of the Wild-esque gameplay. I mean, it's more than okay. It's really fun and engaging. So stop being so contrarian. It's a decent title, and people seem to enjoy it, and the sales are proof of that. So yeah, there we go. Next up, we have Anonymous Code launches in fall 2021 for PS4 and Switch in Japan. PS Vita version cancelled. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Anonymous Code will launch for PlayStation 4 and Switch in fall 2021 in Japan. Publisher Mages and developer Chiyomaru Studio announced. The previously planned PS Vita version is no longer in development. According to Mages, while Anonymous Code was in development for PS Vita, it decided to cancel the version after considering the current market for Vita games and its discontinued production. Okay, so if you didn't know, Anonymous Code seems to be a sequel to Steins Gate. So there you go.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it seemed like a new thing. Because it's Robotics Notes, Chaos Head, Anonymous Code is like
yeah, it is a new thing.
No, but you think it's like not a direct, it's not a sequel to Steins Gate, you know what I mean?
We don't know in what kind of sequel it is, in what terms. Will it carry over plot threads?
But they wouldn't, if it didn't, they wouldn't say that, right?
I guess we'll see. It's too early. It's dropping next year, so we don't really know.
Yeah, it'll be a while.
Yeah. Okay, next up is Steins Gate Zero Elite trailer development update. This is also by Sal Romano. Publisher Mages, or I should say Sal Romano for Gamatsu. And again, publisher Mages and developer Chiyomaru Studio have released a debut trailer for the January announced Steins Gate Zero Elite. According to Mages President Chiyomaru Shikura, development is going well and the engine from Steins Gate Elite has further evolved. In addition to both cores of the anime, Steins Gate Zero Elite will also have branches that include new scenes that did not appear in the anime. And since the story has changed quite a bit between the anime and game, it will also include newly recorded voiceovers. As for its development status, analysis of the script to reconstruct every scenario thus far was recently completed. Platforms and release date for Steins Gate Zero Elite have yet to be announced. For those who don't know, the Elite branding is basically the same game, but instead of the visual novel scenes, they are replaced with scenes from the anime. So kind of an updated-esque version of the game. in terms of visuals at least, and the story has updates and other branches. So there you go. Next up is all you.
Okay, next up, new GameStop FlexPay includes pay later and rent to own plans. This is from Benjamin Maltby over at Siliconera. A variety of new GameStop FlexPay payment options have been introduced ahead of the upcoming 2020 holiday season. In addition to traditional payment, a layaway system, and the previously revealed Xbox All Access program, customers will be able to choose a new rent-to-own plan at checkout. If they would prefer to buy now, pay later, then they have two more options beyond those mentioned. GameStop has partnered with Progressive Leasing for its rent-to-own plan, as well as QuadPay and Klarna for the two buy now, pay later plans. Each of these options will affect credit and cost in different ways, so further reading and consideration might be required before utilizing them. Meanwhile, Microsoft is adding the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S to the Xbox All Access program. GameStop is one of the retailers in the United States that will be offering this program, which is a 24-month payment plan where customers can purchase 2 years of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and either a Series X or Series X for $34.99 or $24.99 a month respectively. The plan is advertised to have no upfront cost, 0% APR, and should be available starting November 10th, 2020. This is just kind of becoming a more popular thing with the pandemic and online shopping becoming a bit bigger, is that with big purchases, you're seeing these you're seeing all these different apps like, oh, you can use Afterpay to pay in increments or this or that, you know. So it's good to see, like, look, I know a lot of people have problems with GameStop, but between that and there was that other Microsoft thing with GameStop, like last week, I think, where they're partnering with GameStop. Mm-hmm. It seems like they're trying to turn around if they can after all that all that bad publicity they've been getting recently.
I'm still hoping they can turn it around and provide jobs for the many people still working for them.
And also they help a lot of people save money. Like me, that's what I used to do before this pandemic started. True. Get a new game, go trade it in, get some points, save money. And then eventually I'd get a new game and save like all the money.
Sure. Next up is Xbox head Phil Spencer on a renewed dedication to single player and even more studio acquisitions. This is by Liana Ruppert for Game Informer. The Xbox One launch was rough with a limited library, confusion around the initial reveal of backwards compatibility, and a shifted focus away from games. Then Phil Spencer came into play and took back the Xbox brand and put it back in the hands of gamers. While a full 180 takes time, the team has been making headway in making right by the Team Green name with amazing services, continued talks with Japan's gaming space, and tons of studio acquisitions to beef up their party lineup. Xbox boss Phil Spencer recently sat down to talk more about future goals for the new generation of gaming. In an interview with Game Reactor, Spencer opened up more on the many acquisitions of the past and the hope for the future. If I think back during the early Xbox One years and even late in the 360 years, at this time, we as a company didn't invest enough in our creative capabilities with our studios, and it showed, he told the site. It follows. Now, the thing with game production is that it takes a lot of time, so if you underinvest, it actually doesn't show up next year or even in the next 2 years. It's maybe 3, 4, or 5 years down the road. He added, I had this feeling or belief that we are underinvesting, and I was head of first party, so I felt it directly. I wanted to invest more, and we weren't able to. So when I got into this job, I needed to put the business in a good space while getting the support of the company. And then we built a business model that prioritized investing in content, knowing that we would have to invest early and wait a while for those investments to pay off. You can click on the article for more info. I'm kind of scrolling to see if there's anything noteworthy. I mean, the whole article's pretty noteworthy, so give it a click. Liana is a cool person. Yeah. Next one is all you.
So, continuing the trend of Xbox news, this is a much shorter article. Most Xbox 360 and Xbox One backwards compatible games confirmed for Series X and S at launch. This is once again by Liana Ruppert for Game Informer. When backwards compatibility was first announced during the Xbox One launch, the reception was less than impressive. Since then, this feature has been expanded to include an incredible amount of games from the original Xbox to 360, and now with the new gen on the horizon, Xbox One. Microsoft has confirmed that most backwards compatible games, with the exception of a few Kinect-reliant titles, are ready to rock and roll on Xbox Series X/S. Xbox's Jason Ronald confirmed the news on Twitter after over 500,000 hours of playtesting adventures across all generations. The only exception to this are those games tied specifically to Kinect functionality, a technology that was abandoned halfway through this current gen cycle. To be clear, this is referencing games already on the backwards compatibility list, a list that continues to grow and will do so post-launch. For those titles on the backwards compatibility list, which is in the hundreds, those will be accessible on Xbox Series X and S at launch, with the exception of those relying on Kinect. While Microsoft halted the addition of new games on the Xbox One back in 2019 to focus on the new generation ahead, that disruption could be temporary once the Xbox Series X/S is launched and development falls back into a more normalized rhythm. For now, we at least have a closer look at the process behind making these past generations of games accessible moving forward. So you can play all the Blinks, the Time Sweeper, and Blue Dragon, and Sneak King you want.
All music to Errol's ears.
Well, not the Sneak King part, but that's just a meme. And Lost Odyssey and all those Xbox games you want a remake of.
Yeah. Next up is Sony aims to sell over 7.6 million PlayStation 5 units by March 2021. This is by Kazuma Hashimoto for Siliconera. Sony will aim to sell over 7.6 million PlayStation 5 units by the end of March 2021. This information came in a Bloomberg report where Chief Financial Officer Hiroki Totoki, that rhymes, disclosed Sony's financials forecast. Additionally, in a report by Reuters, Sony Interactive Entertainment Chief Executive Jim Ryan mentioned that Sony has pre-sold as many PlayStation 5 units within the first 12 hours of its availability as the PlayStation 4 did during its first 12 weeks.
Wow. That's 3 months.
I should note that someone on Twitter said, wait. Someone on Twitter said this is pre-sold PlayStation 4 units. So
yeah.
It's not exactly a one-to-one comparison with PlayStation 5 selling as much as PlayStation 4 did in 3 months. Due to complications surrounding the initial PlayStation 5 pre-order, Sony released an apology statement in the wake of the first wave. Okay, this is Sony being very optimistic. Let's see how it pans out. Next up is all you.
Okay, I didn't expect this game to ever be on our Japan-based podcast, but Fall Guys is getting an official Godzilla costume. Touhou's famous kaiju is getting its own jelly bean suit. This is by James O'Connor for GameSpot. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout is getting another guest costume on November 3rd, and this one's a famous, beloved screen monster. Godzilla is coming to the game for Godzilla Day. Godzilla Day? I didn't know there was a Godzilla Day. Also November 3rd, the release date of the 1954 original. That's the day of something else in the US, but I did not know that was also Godzilla Day. A day dedicated to celebrating
now you know
the legacy of Japan's favorite kaiju. Yeah, I'll be celebrating that. The costume will cost 10 crowns, so you'll either want to have some saved up or earn a few. Yeah, I don't think I have any. Before then, if you're a fan of the series. It's a cartoonier take on the character as befitting the game. A version of Godzilla that served as a grim reminder of the cost of nuclear warfare might not have suited Fall Guys, as great as those movies are. You can check out the costume below before deciding if you want to buy it once it's available. Laura Cohn, managing director of Touhou International, said in a press release that the company is thrilled to collaborate with Mediatonic on the use of their character. Now players will get to celebrate Godzilla Day in such a unique way by putting on the Godzilla suit and stomping their way to victory. Jeff Tanton, vice president of creative at Mediatonic, also believes that Godzilla is a natural fit for the game. There are many parallels to be drawn between the mighty Godzilla and an average Fall Guy. They are both fiercely competitive. They battle on an international stage with incredibly high stakes. They always get back up after being knocked down. And according to worrying reports from our social media channels, they're both much taller than you'd expect.
Sure, Jan.
So yeah, I guess I need to pick up Fall Guys again and actually win a few crowns, because I don't think I've ever won one.
I still haven't played it. Can you believe it?
Holy gasp.
Well, I keep telling you people, I'm very busy.
Well, when you have time, you should try it if you can. Next story. Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythmic Adventure Pack launches December 3rd in the West, 1 week after its Japanese release. This is by Sarumono for Gamatsu. Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythmic Adventure Pack will launch for Switch via the Nintendo eShop on December 3rd in the West, publisher Bandai Namco announced. The two games in the collection, Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythmic Adventure 1 and Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythmic Adventure 2, will also be sold separately. In Japan and Southeast Asia, Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythmic Adventure Pack was previously dated for release on November 26th. It will be available both physically and digitally. There's an overview. It's an RPG. It's a rhythm-based RPG, basically. There's also a controller up for pre-order that comes out. The controller, the website said it comes out next week. The controller, at least.
Okay, I'm a bit confused. Is this the sequel, or is this just
is DLC. This is
a DLC pack for?
This is like an expansion. That's an RPG.
Wasn't there also a sequel that would be an RPG? Or am I misremembering things?
No.
Wait, I'll look it up real quick. You go ahead.
Well, it says it's physical and digital, so maybe it is a thing. But what I was saying was on Bandai Namco, the Taiko drum controller is up for pre-order, which we haven't had.
That's nice.
Internationally. I actually pre-ordered it the other day. Because, you know how one, Taiko is really fun, but two, it's when's the last time we got instrument controllers? Those things get hard to find. So, yeah, if you're interested in Taiko at all,
if I'm not mistaken,
and want to play it the true way.
One of the Harmonix games came with an instrument not too long ago.
Well, Rock Band. Wait, Harmonix did a music thing recently?
After Rock Band. They did a few games.
One of the DJ ones?
The DJ one is recent, but I think that's just something you play with a controller.
That was a card
that
thing.
one.
That was cool. I forgot what that was called, but that one was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so I'm reading here.
I think it is a standalone
Taiko no Tatsujin Dokodon RPG Pack is an upcoming re-release of Don Tokatsu no Jiku Daiboken and Dokodon Mystery Adventure bundled into one game. Yeah. So it's not DLC for the
it's a new game.
Previous release. Okay, that's
it confuses. It's confusing because it says pack.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have to get the other Taiko game at some point.
Sure.
But it will have the opening song to Demon Slayer, I believe.
Yeah, Gorenji.
Okay, next story. Because of Disney, the hurdle is considerably high for a Final Fantasy XIV and Kingdom Hearts crossover. This once again is by Cian Maher for The Gamer. Square Enix fans have long thought that a crossover event between Final Fantasy XIV and the much beloved Kingdom Hearts franchise seemed like a match made in heaven. Sora and company would fit right in among the vast and varied world of Eorzea, and the storytelling potential for a collaboration of this caliber is pretty much unprecedented in the games industry. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like a Final Fantasy XIV and Kingdom Hearts crossover has the means of materializing, at least not right now, that is. The gamer recently had a chance to sit down with Final Fantasy XIV creative director Naoki Yoshida, who expressed his concerns as to whether a collaboration of this kind could ever happen. Kingdom Hearts is not owned solely by Square Enix, but also belongs to Disney, Yoshida told the gamer. For those unacquainted with the backgrounds of these series, both Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy are franchises associated with Square Enix. The difference is that although Final Fantasy is wholly owned by the globally renowned publisher, Disney has a stake in Kingdom Hearts. That's why you have Mickey Mouse and Goofy legging it around the place with Sora. In Yoshida's opinion, the hurdle is considerably high when it comes to a crossover event of this nature, meaning that it likely won't materialize for as long as Disney has partial ownership of the Kingdom Hearts IP. And let's be real, Donald Duck isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Fortunately, Final Fantasy XIV fans who are excited for future crossover events will be glad to know that there are other series that might show up in Eorzea down the line. When we asked Yoshida about the studios and franchises he'd love to collaborate with in an ideal world, he explained his love for Blizzard and said that they would love to see a Final Fantasy XIV crossover with Diablo or World of Warcraft if Blizzard was interested. So no Kingdom Hearts, but if Blizzard is into the idea of a crossover as Yoshida is, maybe we'll see the Lord of Terror or Sylvanas Windrunner in Eorzea at some point.
Yeah.
It's
or Deckard
unfortunate, but not surprising, really. After that Sora...
I mean, is it unfortunate?
That Sora summon in World of Final Fantasy was only temporary.
Is it unfortunate?
Yes, I want to be able to visually, I forgot what you call it, but transform my weapon into a Keyblade.
Well, you wanting it doesn't make it better per se.
It's just a cosmetic change.
Well, let's put it this way. Disney having so many layers of checks and balances, and them being very protective of their brand,
a little too much.
It's going to take a very long time before they greenlight anything for a crossover.
It's one of those things where I don't expect actual Disney characters, but or Kingdom Hearts characters. But if you give me outfits and Keyblades, yeah, I'd be fine with that.
This would probably be also a problem if Final Fantasy XIV were to have a crossover with Nintendo. Let's say Mario. Mario being a media property now would also have to go through checks and balances so as to not disturb the continuity of the characters.
And that's why
so you might see a Mario
Watch.
hat for... Yeah, like I was saying, you might see a Mario hat for your character, or a Yoshi summon, or a Chocobo with the Yoshi color scheme, but you won't see a Nintendo character transformed into a Final Fantasy character because that will never happen anymore. I'm sorry to say. Yeah. Next up is Final Fantasy XVI teaser website launched, featuring key artwork, setting, and main characters. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Square Enix has launched the teaser website for Final Fantasy XVI, which features the key artwork and information on the game's setting and main characters. You can click on article for full details, but sum up the main things. The main protagonist is Clive Rosfield. He looks really badass. The summons in this world are called icons, and the people who summon these creatures or spirits are called dominants. And the story follows Clive Rosfield, a young man dedicated to mastering the blade, who is dubbed the First Shield of Rosaria and tasked to guard his younger brother Joshua, the dominant of the Phoenix. Unexpected events sent Clive on a dark and dangerous road to revenge. Then they also have some, what do they call it again? Artwork. What do they call it again? Anyway, the land of Vestroia is studded with mother crystals, glittering mountains of crystal that tower over the realms around them, blessing them with ether. So click on the article if you want to have more details. But a fun thing I noticed, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably also saw me tweeting about this, but the icons are also dubbed something else. So, excuse me. In terms of the Grand Duchy of Rosaria, so their crystal is called the Drake's Breath, and that has the dominant of the Phoenix icon of fire. So I kind of misinterpreted this. So my theory is they are going to collect all the crystals or all the powers of the crystals, maybe by extension all the dominance, and then summon a dragon as a final boss. Because Drake's Breath, Drake's Tail, Drake's Head, they all form the body of a drake.
Would make sense with the high fantasy setting, probably.
Sure, and I'm thinking it's either going to be Leviathan, Bahamut, or Diabolos, but we'll see. We shall see. I'm really stoked for this game.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm really stoked.
My one thing is the character names seem a little more, I don't want to say generic, but Clive, Jill, and Joshua.
Are you not
as
happy?
As compared to Noctis, Prompto, Gladiolus, Ignis.
Yeah, Gladiolus or
Cloud,
Gladio.
Lightning.
Well, okay.
Well, those are only three characters. We don't know.
We
don't know how many characters will be in the party per se, or how it'll work, or if you're only playing as Clive. So there could be a mix of other names too that we just haven't been revealed yet.
The thing I want to say is you can never please Final Fantasy fans, because people are complaining about Cloud being named Cloud, Lightning being named Lightning, Tidus being Tidus or Tidus. So you can never please anyone. I'm fine with the basic
it's not a
English
huge deal
names.
to me. I was just a little surprised.
It's
compared to like
given
Final
the art
Fantasy
style and the art
14
direction,
with like Astinian and Alphino and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, given the art style and the direction, it heavily leans towards Matsuno, who is kind of the founder of the Ivalice story within Final Fantasy, with Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Ogre Battle, and they are more straightforward games. With in terms of their storytelling, more serious in tone. So I think that's why you don't have such frivolous names.
Well, I'm still excited for it. I don't think the names are like a huge deal. We'll see when this comes out, whether it's next year or the year after that. We'll see.
Well, it leaked that it's going to come out next year.
It's
but that
should come out
corrected. Well, Game Informer was going to put out an article or a digital article that it was coming out next year, and that they corrected it because it was getting too much attention.
Yeah. So we'll see. Alright, so next story is some Demon Souls Digital Deluxe Edition equipment is exclusive to that version. This is by Jenni Lada for Siliconera. Sony's official product page with details about the Demon Souls Digital Deluxe Edition updated, and it turns out some of its bonuses are exclusive. There are now notations next to different in-game items. It turns out 2 sets of armor and 1 weapon will only be available via that version. When this version of Demon Souls was announced, Sony confirmed people would get a Boletarian Royalty armor set, Red-Eye Knight armor set, and Ritual Blade for their avatars. All 3 of these items now have an asterisk associated with them that labels them Digital Deluxe exclusive. This means of the 4 pieces of equipment offered in the Demon Souls Digital Deluxe Edition, only 1 isn't limited to that version of the game. That's the Hoplite Shield, which is labeled as an item people will get access to early as a result of buying this copy. All of the other bonus items, like the Ring of Longevity and consumables like the legendary Hero Soul, also are noted to be early access items. As a reminder, the digital deluxe version of the game is $89.99, $20 more expensive than the standard edition. In addition to the extra items, it also gives people a digital copy of the game's soundtrack. And Demon Souls will appear on PlayStation 5 on November 12th, 2020 in Australia, Japan, North America, and South Korea. It will show up in the rest of the world on November 19th. So yeah, if you want extra stuff, get that version.
Or, don't save money. Do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, if you want to save money, don't get the version.
Yeah. Next up is Nintendo extends Joy-Con price drop to America. This is by Oni Dino for Siliconera. Nintendo fans can pocket a few of their coins moving forward now that the Joy-Con price drop is making its way stateside. The news comes from Nintendo of America's official Twitter account. Nintendo announced a single Joy-Con will cost $39.99 starting on November 9th, 2020. Previously, they were only sold together in bundles of $79.99. Wait, that's half of the price. Okay. Earlier in October 2020, we heard that Nintendo was lowering the price of single controllers in Japan. Fans were anticipating the Joy-Con price drop would reach other regions, especially for the holidays. Nintendo tweeted the following information from its official account. Starting on the 9th of November, single Nintendo Switch Joy-Con controllers will be available for purchase for $39.99. Choose from left Joy-Con controller in neon blue and the right Joy-Con controller in neon red. Okay, I might be confused. I don't think this counts as a price drop.
It's a price drop for single
I might not be American.
For single Joy-Cons.
Not really. It's half the price of the bundle. I don't get how that's a price drop.
Because weren't they... yeah, they were only sold together in bundles for... oh.
See, that's my problem. It doesn't make sense calling it a price drop. It's just they're selling them separately for the
you
cost
can buy
of
single ones now.
The bundle. Yeah,
basically
it's not a price drop.
You can buy single Joy-Cons now, so you don't have to buy two every time you have to get new ones.
Yeah.
Which is still good.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just... It is good. It's just not a price drop.
If only they could improve the controllers themselves.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, it's still too expensive if it's gonna have Joy-Con drift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of Nintendo, our main topic is, what day was it, on Tuesday? The surprise Nintendo Direct showcase that was shadow dropped on Tuesday. I believe. Yeah, it was Tuesday. Pretty sure.
Well, no, wasn't it yesterday?
Wait, it was yesterday? No.
Yeah.
What? Oh wow, it was yesterday.
What time zone are you living in?
Time doesn't matter. It is a construct of human perception.
Sure.
Anyways,
be like that.
What were your initial impressions before we get into it? I thought it was all right. Of course, it doesn't for me. It doesn't hold a candle to the one that had Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Stories 2, but that's kind of unfair.
Yeah, I mean, for you, anything containing Monster Hunter or level 5 is sure to set off your alarms.
Yep.
For me, I'm pretty happy with the games that were shown. Breath of the Wild,
I'm so
Age of Calamity.
I'm so happy with the games that were shown. It's just I'm not super excited or anything. I'm just kind of more like, oh, that's neat.
You don't sound super excited.
Like, that's cool.
Or somewhat happy. I'm good with the selection of games shown. It's a decent mix of genres, and yeah, it just shows that we will be getting more games until the next year, and you do not have to worry about the lineup drying up anytime soon.
Yeah.
So stop worrying about Nintendo not having games. So there's that. I am happy that Bravely Default finally has a firm release date.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes, because it's still a pandemic. So yeah, I'm happy. Shall we dive into what was discussed?
Yeah, because you already mentioned
or
Bravely
do you
Default
have any
2.
other thoughts?
No, you already because
But do
that's
you
a
have
good
any-
segue.
Okay. So Bravely Default 2 launches February 26, 2021. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Bravely Default 2 will launch on Switch on February 26, 2021 worldwide. A delay from its previously planned 2020 release window, publisher Nintendo announced. And you can click on the article for a full breakdown. There's also a trailer and a video showcasing how they implemented the feedback they got from the surveys after the demo. A thing I am happy to report is that they are modifying the difficulty, because a lot of people said that the demo was too difficult.
It wasn't easy,
so it's
I'll
going
tell
to
you
be
that
a lot
much.
more accessible. I said as much, but okay. But they're going to be adding difficulty options and other goodies for the final release.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. My takeaway is it looks neat. I'm not happy with the way the characters look.
Really?
They are. How do I explain this? They look like plastic dolls that have static faces. They don't emote all that much. It's kind of the problem I have with. I think it was Fairy Tail, the last one I had this problem with, where it's a lot of static emotions. Like there's one default happy, one default sad, one default angry, and they just cycle through those, but not enough that it seems like actual characters, which is disappointing, because even in sprite form, the characters in Octopath Traveler were very expressive. It's not going to be a big deal, but it's something that irks me. So that's the only thing I can mention. What do you think of Bravely Default 2?
I mean, I played a little bit of the first one, and I got kind of sick of it pretty fast. Because I'm not the biggest fan of, like, that...
Wow.
I'm not the biggest fan of the classic Final Fantasy style, for whatever reason. Or, like, I don't know. Something about it. I've always been meaning to try it again.
Who hurt
I'll
you?
see... What? Who hurt me?
Who hurt you?
Dragon Quest took all my brain power.
I mean, look, it's people. There's a subset of Final Fantasy fans that are clamoring for a return to traditional turn-based RPGs. That's probably not going to happen anytime soon. So here you go with Octopath Traveler, and now with Bravely Default 2.
And Final Fantasy. Don't forget about the Final Fantasy Legend ports. I know that's not really Final Fantasy, but it's in the name. Sure, but those are ports of older games. I'm talking in terms of newer games. Yeah.
The art direction is very neat. It has a very diorama-esque take on how the worlds look.
The art for these always look nice.
That's something I always loved. I'm just not a fan of the character designs. The music is excellent.
Do you think they would release another demo? Just because, since they're changing difficulty stuff?
With February being so close, in quotation marks, I don't think so.
I think they could,
especially since the demo is also.
I think it would be a good idea. I think it would be a good idea if they did.
I don't think so.
Just because then people can see how it is with the new options, with the feedback and stuff.
Sure, but I doubt they'll do it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Next up, we have Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town announced for Switch. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu.
Oh, all these stories.
Publisher
just so we don't
Games.
have to say that. All these stories for Nintendo thing are from Gamatsu by Sal Romano. Just so we can save time.
Okay. Publisher Exceed Games, Marvelous. Publishers Exceed Games, Marvelous Europe, and Marvelous have announced Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town for Switch. It will launch on February 25th, 2021 in Japan for 6,578 yen, so about $60 US, and March 23rd in North America and Europe. You can click on the article for a full breakdown on the announcement. So this is the real Harvest Moon team bringing out a new game under the Story of Seasons banner. If you enjoyed Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, you'll probably enjoy this a lot more than
I'm sure our friend of the
Harvest
show,
Moon games.
Friend of the show, Nicole B will probably play it, and she's probably super excited for this. I was kind of surprised they announced a new Story of Seasons so fast, but then I realized, like, oh, well, the one that just came out was a remake, so they already had, a lot of the material for that.
Yeah, and if you're more a fan of action-oriented gameplay, you can look out for Rune Factory 4 or 5. That'll be coming next year. Okay. Next up, we have No More Heroes 3 gameplay trailer and screenshots. Grasshopper Manufacturer has released a new gameplay trailer and a set of screenshots for No More Heroes 3. You can click on the article for a full breakdown of the announcement. And coupled with that, No More Heroes 1 and 2, Desperate Struggle, are now available for Switch, and they are discounted. I think they're $17.99 on the eShop. So if you want to familiarize yourself with the series or kind of refresh yourself on what the gameplay is all about, head on down to the eShop. What are your thoughts on No More Heroes?
It looks good. You said both, right? The port and you talked about.
Yeah, I said both.
Yeah, okay.
Don't worry.
So, because I tuned out for a second there, but not on purpose. Sorry about that.
Sure.
I saw something about the ports look off to me. And then somebody on Twitter was saying, like, they don't look very good. Like, they look like PS2 games. I'm like, well, these were on the Wii. And they probably looked better on the Wii than they do on a more modern platform.
Well, that's probably your nostalgia talking. So,
maybe. But that was just with the ports. I think 3 looks fine. 3 looks great. I've played a little of about half of the first one. And I had a lot of fun with it. I'd like to try all of them before 3. I'd like to try both before 3 comes out, but there are just so many games that I don't know if I'll have time. But it's good that they're both available on a new platform now.
Yeah, I think I'll finally try my hand at No More Heroes with the first one, but there are so many good sales on the eShop at the moment, so I'm having a hard time.
Yeah. Alright, so next story is Nintendo and HAL Laboratory release puzzle action game Part-Time UFO for Switch. Help the citizens of Earth as a little UFO with an extendable claw. Publisher Nintendo and developer HAL Laboratory have announced Part-Time UFO, a puzzle action game for Switch. It is available now via the Nintendo eShop for $8.99. Here is the overview. Help citizens of Earth as a cute little UFO with a handy extendable claw. Move objects to the designated platform and balance, arrange, and build to help Earthlings complete jobs. Tasks range from farming, fishing, and stacking cheerleaders. Wait, what? It says wait, what in the description. Wait, what? Each puzzling job has multiple objectives hinted at through pictures. Solve them to earn in-game medals and unlock even more jobs. Just keep an eye on the timer. Pass the Joy-Con controller to a friend for some duo UFO puzzle solving. Recruit a friend and complete any job in cooperative mode. Each job also has a more difficult variation that's perfect for 2 players. Jobs may have more objects to move or other challenges to keep the action fresh for your UFO buddy. 2 claws are better than 1. Reach for the stars and a high score in the Tower of Infinity. The sky's the limit in the Tower of Infinity model stack, or mode, not model. Stack objects that are flown in on helicopters to build the tallest tower you can. Be careful not to let anything fall off the platform or the round will end. A second player can join you on your journey to build the tallest tower possible. So it's kind of like Jenga? Take on key features. Take on jobs like helping a farmer load a truck, arranging circus animals, and rebuilding a temple. In addition to the medals you'll earn to unlock other stages, you'll receive some in-game currency for each job you complete. Redeem your hard-earned currency for adorable, useful costumes. Dress like a ninja for a sneaky look and a speed boost, or don the safety helmet to stop quickly when zooming around the screen. Check out the Feats of Glory for extra challenges to complete as you play. For example, try to transport a total of 160 objects across all jobs, or get a total of 54 medals. Complete 4 of these feats to unlock an animated illustration. Once you master your claw-swinging object stacking skills, you can go for a treasure hunt. In this mode, you must solve puzzles and collect treasures as you explore treacherous ruins. Whether you want to help out Earthlings, build your Tower of Infinity, or explore for treasure, the part-time UFO game is full-time fun. And there's a trailer you can watch on YouTube. This does sound fun. From reading all that. I might try it.
Yeah. It looks like a fun distraction for a weekend with a second player.
And because it's HAL Laboratory, there are little Kirby dolls in this one picture.
Yeah.
Kirby, Meta Knight, Waddle Dee, and Dedede. Little plushies. Next story, Rune Factory 5 launches May 20th, 2021 in Japan. Available in standard and limited editions. Rune Factory 5 will launch for Switch on May 20th, 2021 in Japan for 7,678 yen, publisher Marvelous and developer Hakama announced. A 9,980 yen premium box limited edition will also be available, which includes a copy of the game, special box, visual book, memorial soundtrack selection, and Rune Factory 4 Bachelorette/Bachelor costume set downloadable content. In the West, Rune Factory 5 will launch for Switch in 2021. Get the latest details below, and there's just a lot of descriptions. Rune Factory 5 is an RPG full of things to do, from interacting with the townspeople and finding love, to spending each day working on the farm and casting a line and making use of weapons and magic to carry out your adventure. The game offers a friendly, carefree design that allows even first-time players to easily jump into its world. And this was the one that looked really impressive, right? I'm looking at the screenshots now. Because this is the first Rune Factory game on Switch that isn't a port of a previous game.
I didn't see... Was it in the English one?
It might have not been an English one, but it was in another English Nintendo Direct previously.
In the Japanese version of the Direct, yeah.
And then there's a screenshot of a character riding a dragon, and then battle. Tough monsters await outside of town. Make use of all sorts of weapons, magic, and combination arts with your companions to defeat them. I might play this.
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of giving me Animal Crossing / Atelier Ryza vibes. So yeah. It might be something for me.
Yeah, I'm thinking about playing this. Possibly. And there's a bunch of information about all the different characters. And the premium box comes with a copy of Rune Factory 5 for Switch, special box with artwork illustrated by character designer Minako Iwasaki, Rune Factory 5 visual book featuring 60 pages of character scenery and other artwork, and a cover artwork illustrated by character designer Minako Iwasaki, Rune Factory Memorial Sound Selection CD featuring 15 songs that have brought the series to life, downloadable content, Rune Factory 4 Bachelorette/Bachelor costume set. Download code, including costumes themed after all 13 bachelorettes and bachelors from Rune Factory 4. And there's a trailer on the Japanese Marvelous YouTube channel. And then our last story, and this was also a Japan exclusive Nintendo Direct game. Nintendo and Koei Tecmo announced Buddy Mission Bond for Switch, due out on January 29, 2021 in Japan. Publisher Nintendo and developer Koei Tecmo have announced adventure game Buddy Mission Bond for Switch. It will launch on January 29, 2021 in Japan for 7,128 yen. So this is, here's an overview of the game. Close in on the truth with your partner. Luke, a police officer aiming to become a hero like his late foster father had dreamed, and Aaron, the phantom thief beast whose total damages are said to amount to several hundred billion. A strange encounter will greatly change their fate. This is the story of teamwork and at times disparity between dependable partners, the mystery of Luke's father's death, and a fiery friendship that confront an earth-shaking conspiracy. The story is set on Mikagura Island, the metropolis for international show business. To fight against the criminal syndicate Discard, operating in the shadows, 4 people, each with their own intentions, come together to form an undercover investigation team. That team's name is Bond. It consists of the police officer Luke, phantom thief beast Aaron, vivacious ninja of many loves Mokuma, and cool-headed swindler Chesley. Will you be able to uncover the truth on this island swelled with light and darkness? The game's key feature is forming a team of 2 buddies to investigate and infiltrate. Choose 2 out of the 4 team Bond members and switch up partners often while solving the problems that block your path forward, verifying the traits of each Bond member. And being able to properly investigate with the appropriate members is the key to obtaining information. Depending on the information you obtain, the route when you infiltrate the enemy's hideout will change. It is important to think about and choose the optional buddy for the job. Character designs are handled by Yusuke Murata, who is known for Eyeshield 21, One Punch Man, and more. The game incorporates comic-like presentations during story and dialogue developments, allowing players to enjoy a digital comic-style story. So this is like it's kind of like a visual novel action detective game.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if it has a Western release yet, but I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, because it was not in the Nintendo Direct I saw.
So we have no idea, but hopefully it gets localized, because it seems like a bit of a different take on the visual novel. Or at least more comic booky.
Could be fun. We'll see.
Those character designs are slick. Yeah, so we have no listener questions this week. So that is all.
No. Yeah, it's been a fun week. We've discussed a lot.
Yeah.
We hope to be back next week. Thank you for listening. Yeah. Be kind to each other. Wash your hands.
Play games, watch anime, wear a mask, wash your hands. Have a good Halloween. Buy candy if you want. There's a lot of candy that's gonna be on sale. Just remember to brush your teeth.
Don't go trick-or-treating, just play Animal Crossing.
That's why I said buy candy. Buy candy after Halloween because it'll be on sale.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Matane.